Hello, Jordan Chariton, live Status Coup. It is Monday, April 8th, 2024 in the United Corporations of America. I hope everybody who could see the solar eclipse had a nice time. I think I might have burnt the corner of this eye, so I'm hoping it's not permanent damage. Colin, I just sent it to you. I don't know if you have, but apparently there's search results for why do my eyes hurt, and my eyes hurt are exploding right now after the total solar eclipse. And apparently I saw like 2 hours ago, I think it was, that one of the glasses, so, whatever those glasses are called, one of the glasses that people were ordering got recalled because I guess it was a scam, but a lot of people ordered them on Amazon. So I'm hoping whichever scam sunglasses, the word got out to the folks. Don't wear those glasses. But I honestly haven't been paying much attention to this because I'm busy on other things. But I was at physical therapy because I'm 2 back surgeries in and trying to avoid a 3rd back surgery. And, all the people at physical therapy were getting all worked up about it. So I asked one of the people who worked there, can I borrow your glasses? So I went outside and all I saw was black. So I'm like, what? I don't get it. And then he's like, no, you got to turn to the sun. So I turned left, and I think as I was turning, the side of the glasses is thinner than the actual glasses. So I think that the sun got in my eye a little bit. So it's not burning. It just kind of like feels heavy. So, whatever. I'm a whiny white male. So hopefully it's fine. But smash that like button. Share this live stream. I hope it was a spiritual event for you. If only the media was as excited about corruption and exposing cover-ups and the poisoning of water and the exploitation of workers as they are about the solar eclipse. Have you ever seen more nerds on your television screen than today? I have not. Oh my God, CNN can't contain themselves with this solar eclipse. But I digress. We're going to start with an update on the West Virginia water crisis, which is getting worse, yet nothing's being done. And then I'm just going to do an open mic, take your calls, which I haven't done in a while. We could go all around, talk about whatever you want. Obviously, 2024 election, Trump made an announcement, kind of a bizarre announcement, if you ask me, on his abortion stance, which was interesting. He's still pushing that the Democrats are killing babies out of the womb. So I'm still waiting for that example. We're also we could also talk about the latest in Israel and Gaza. There's a lot going on there, and whatever you want. So we'll get to that probably in 10 to 15 minutes. Please share this live stream. Please support our channel. Super chats are badly needed. A little bit later, I'll get into financial stuff. We're hurting right now, and we could use your help. So definitely, if you have a couple bucks, drop in money for super chats or a straight donation, which is statuscoup.com/donate. So for those of you that know, about 2-3 weeks ago, we were down in coal country, West Virginia. I've covered a lot of water issues across the country. Obviously, there's Flint and many others I've covered. This one seems unique because at least with Flint, it was, you had the people showing up to city council meetings with brown water. People had rashes, etc. This is one of in Wyoming County, West Virginia. This is one of the poorest communities in the country. The media, they don't even have a newspaper there. And a lot of people are feeling sick, but have been in the dark about what's going on. And this gentleman, for over a year now, has been basically doing the job of the government and the media. So joining us again is Richard Althusser down in Wyoming County, southern West Virginia. Richard, I can't keep up because you're posting on your Facebook all these videos, but I want to show this one from last week. I have never seen this, at least in America. Colin, show another example of the contamination in the water down there.
All right, guys, look at that. It's coming out from underneath that old pump. Look, there's another artesian well. Look at this green stuff. Look at this. They're letting this run right into that old pond right there. No filtering. And it's full of that foam. It's running right down to the other end, going under the railroad tracks and going into the Guyandotte River. They're poisoning the Guyandotte River on purpose.
So that looked, I'm not a biologist or anything, but that looked like some of that green fungi that I saw when I was there. Talk about since I left a few weeks ago, the state environmental department has had some folks down there, but you've been seeing more creeks with that white foam, and that example of literally, I don't know if it's algae or fungus. What have you been seeing?
Well, there's a Hatfield McCoy Trail here where people come in and ride. They come from all over the country. It's big business back here. And I got a tip from some people that were on the trails that they went off the trails a little bit and ran into the artesian well that we just found. Went out there and looked at it. It's a mess. Green stuff, white stuff, foam everywhere. Got back, started doing some search on the DEP's website, and found out they knew about it the same time last year when the well down here at the Christian's place started coming out. They required the mines to filter it, put it in a pond, and filter it like they're supposed to, which, the pond was in bad shape. And they put it right into the Guyandotte River. And I've sent word to them, asked them why that was okay, and they went ahead and piped the one down here straight into the creek. Is it because we were poor and couldn't say anything? There's a lot of questions, and we've got some people on it, working on it now and trying to find the answers to why they would pipe the one down here to Christian straight into the creek and not require them to pond it like they did the one we found up the road about 3 miles.
And apologies to the viewers. He's down in cold country. It's not the best connection, but we do hear you. Okay, so if the screen is a little frozen, we'll take it because we hear his voice pretty well. To the audience, just for people that don't remember, you have multiple issues coming on here. You have a lot of gas wells around this area, and you have a lot of mines. Some are active mining going on from a variety of companies, and some of them are abandoned mines that did not do the reclamation that they're supposed to do by law. So when I was down there and what you've been seeing, you got multiple things. You have sheens in the water that look oily. Some people I talked to down there said in the shower, the water feels oily on their skin. You have white foam that your testing indicates is from kind of industrial cleaner called surfactant. You also have areas that just have straight brown, kind of sediment. There's also contamination in people's private wells with blackish white water that looks like it's coming straight out of a coal. So there's a lot of different contamination here. And when I reached out to the State Department of Environmental Protection, which is not unique to West Virginia, by the way. In my experience, most of these state EPAs are they literally exist just to feed you bullshit and cover for industry. They're not there to protect the environment. They're there to protect, in the case of West Virginia, the coal mines. In the case of other states, various different industries that thrive in those economies. But they told me, we've done a bunch of testing, and according to the guidelines of what we're supposed to test for, everything's fine. Yet it smells throughout this area, in people's yards, in the creeks. And now, especially when it rains, that smell gets worse. And now you're seeing more of this green fungi.
Yeah. We had a guy call me the other day. He was cleaning his well out, and he let it run out onto the ground all night. Got up next morning, the foam was up to his knees. So I went and had some people pick up some test bottles, and we're going to start testing the surfactants in people's wells. And I think the problem they're having up here is like when we've seen in the creeks are running constantly, and the foam hits the stuff in the creeks and it foams up. I think what's going on here is that the when you turn your sink on or you flush your toilet, it's just running for a second or two, and it doesn't give the time for the surfactants to start foaming up. And we believe that is what we're finding in people's wells now because of what the guy noticed on his ground the next morning. So it got me thinking that maybe that's why we're not seeing the foam in the toilets and stuff. We're seeing the sheen, but not seeing the foam. It doesn't have time to stir to get the foam to show up. And we're going to start testing for that hopefully next week. And that'll give us some answers because the county commissioner down here told some people that he could not bring water in until we prove the wells are bad. Now, I mean, I don't know, we're just not getting any help from anybody, our local politicians or anybody. So,
and the state environmental department, they tell some people, oh, we're happy to help. We're happy to work with the residents like you down there to get to the bottom of this. But you have messages showing that they basically told you, don't message us. Don't bother us anymore.
Yeah, so they told a local reporter down here that they had been begging for me to work with them and stuff. So I sent her the text messages from their supervisor back in December the 12th I got telling me not to even send them anything, that they didn't want to have anything to do with us down here. And then they said the water tested good, and I sent them some results that they had took that didn't match what they were saying. They're just blatantly lying to people down here. And the only thing I can come to, Jordan, is they know people down here doesn't have the money to fight them. They don't have the money to drill to make sure their coal's not being stolen. They don't have the money to do anything. New Richmond, you're getting closer to Beckley, bigger city, more people. That might have been why they required them to filter that water where they were supposed to do. But down here, you've been down here. You see how it is. It's, people's lucky if they can buy food during the week, and buying filters and having water tests, they can't afford it. They just can't afford $200 or $300 to test their well water. They're having to live like this. But like I said, now I did talk to the lab this morning, and we're going to try to get 4 or 5 people's surfactants checked in their water in their homes. Hopefully that will prove that these people don't need to be bathing and stuff in this water.
Right. And, it's kind of, as a citizen, it's difficult because you're supposed to turn to your local elected representatives. You're supposed to turn, all these environmental departments have a hotline, a tip line for complaints, et cetera, et cetera. But every entity and individual you're supposed to turn to has blown you and the residents off. And I could sniff bullshit a mile away. The Department of Environmental Protection sent me a long novel, and none of it, it was all a bunch of nonsense. Joe Manchin's people didn't respond to me. Senator of West Virginia, Senator Shelley Moore Capito didn't respond to me. Congresswoman Carol Miller didn't respond to me. You folks say you have to fill out, 3 or 4 different forms to get your congresswoman to talk to you. So the problem is, what do you do then when you have folks that an individual in Wyoming County makes $25,000 a year? A household, a married couple might make about $45,000. It's one of the poorer communities in America. What are you supposed to do? People can't afford to buy cases and cases of bottled water, put in home filtration. And another problem for people who don't, might not be getting it, the aquifer, the groundwater underneath the ground where hundreds of people get their water from is likely contaminated. But they're not doing any thorough testing on that. So, then people say, well, why don't you move then? Well, it's not so easy to move when you're poor. So what can the residents do? Obviously there's ourselves, maybe 1 or 2 other outlets that have covered it. But, what can you do if they just keep giving you the lip service that we've tested and everything's fine?
Well, we had a couple food banks, not from here, but other places, bring us in some water. There's people out of state doing a little fundraising to bring in water. Jordan, I just don't know. I mean, you've seen the what the water causes to the skin, the irritation. You've seen it firsthand. I see it every day. I see it. Different people with it every day. Different people's calling me, and it's hard to tell them I don't have any answers for them until we can finally get the government to step in and do something. But this is not. There's no quick fix to this, and I mean, I just don't know. I'm at the point now where, I fill out a FOIA request with the DEP back on March the 11th to try to get some answers. And I get a message telling me that it's going to be 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 weeks to get stuff that used to take me a week to get. They're just not working with the community. You can blatantly see the creek's dead. But they're telling people that everything's fine, and everybody knows it's not fine. I just don't know. Like I said, I'm at my wit's end with these people. They just, and I guess they think, and they've always thought down here that people will get tired of it and just let it go. And most people do, and that. But man, you can't. Your friends are being poisoned or dying. They got blisters on their backs from taking showers. They're going to families' houses and taking showers. It's just not affecting the Indian Creek community. It's the other families that's bringing them in, letting them take showers and stuff.
Well, I also think people need to understand, and that's why I kept saying it when I was down there. They're covering it up, but this doesn't only affect your community. You said that this is going down to the Wyandotte River, and then that's going down to the Ohio River. That's millions of people get their water from the Ohio River. Folks maybe downstream that are fishing for the fish that are left. There's contamination issues. And I think this is a bigger problem because there's mining going on in Kentucky, in Tennessee. This is not a political statement on mining. I know people have different opinions and, et cetera, et cetera. But as it stands now, while coal mining exists, how do we know that they're not dumping contaminated coal in creeks and ponds elsewhere? How do we know that they're not breaching underground aquifers and then trying to cover it up? I have no idea. There's not like a live stream of the underground mine 24/7. You spent time in Tennessee, elsewhere. So this seems like an issue even beyond the coal industry of industry and corporations just dumping shit into creeks, into ponds, into rivers that then, people drink out of.
Well, I hear stories all the time that this has been going on for decades. Well, that might be true, but, I didn't know about it. The community didn't know.
I don't think they had green fungus for decades. I don't think they had.
I've never seen it, and I've never seen anything like this, and I don't think you have either. This is something nobody can understand it till they come and look at it. And some reporters have that's come from out of state or up in towards Huntington and stuff, 4 or 5 hours away. They just shake their heads. When they leave here, they don't know what to say.
Right.
And they want to help us as a community, but when they call the DEP, and DEP says, "Oh, it's all fine, it's good. There's nothing wrong with the water, the way we test it." Well, yeah, that's probably true. But they only test for like 4 things that's supposed to be in water. And they're not testing for the arsenic, the heavy metals, the surfactants. Nobody would have known about it if I hadn't had it tested. They were telling everybody it was natural. And you interviewed the guy that they told it to. They would have never known it, Jordan, if I hadn't spent the money and had it tested. Now we're going to test. We're going to test. I think it's got into their wells. I'm almost 99.9% positive it's in their wells. Maybe if we get that test results back and it's in their wells, but they'll just say it's something else, or they're going to come up with a reason to justify why they give permits out illegally back in 17 and 18. This is all it boils down to. They're just covering up their mistakes.
Right. And by the way, just to answer, because I did see some comments underneath videos we did while we were in West Virginia, and people just saying, well, stop complaining, go test your water. It only costs like $50. I don't know what water test you're doing. It costs hundreds of dollars to get an independent lab to come out and test your water. In some cases, it could cost up to $500, $600 plus mailing it out. So
3,000.
it's not.
Yeah. 3,000. And see, you personally can't test the well. It won't stand up in court or anything. You have to pay somebody to come out and test it that's qualified and licensed and stuff. That testing for surfactants ain't but $50, but it's $250 to get him to come out here to do it. And that's $300 just for surfactants. The girl that I know that they sunk her well, it cost $3,000 to test her well.
Wow.
Nobody. And most of them live on leased land too, Jordan. The governor owns. And all he's got to do is say, you got 30 days to get off the property. And these people's been living there for years. They lived there when Pinnacle, the mines that went bankrupt, had it. And then when the governor bought it, he took over the leases. And all he's got to do is tell them move. And these people have absolutely no place to go. None. Because the governor owns 23,475 acres just in this area.
And can I ask you, this is not to get into whether, coal mining should still exist or anything like that, but I do think our government is littered with conflicts of interest. And here in West Virginia, I mean, you got people in the state environmental department that worked as coal executives. You got people in the coal industry at these mines that worked in the environmental department. It seems like one big cesspool of people switching spots between the government and the coal industry. You got a governor who owns coal companies and was a billionaire. Now he's not a billionaire. You got senators that own coal companies. I don't know how any of these people can be trusted to regulate it when they themselves are directly connected to the coal industry or have been.
Well, I did like I said, I did my investigations, and the West Virginia Department of Environmental Protection people and the coal mine industry here in this local community has switched jobs back and forth. And I was told yesterday by a source that they hired a DEP official not long ago because he knew how to navigate through the violations. This is a proven fact back here. All they got to do is come in here and investigate. And I've sent Merrick Garland. I've wrote people. This is so corrupt back here. It's just not even funny. I mean, they're doing it right out in the open, Jordan. They're not hiding it. I mean, it's out there. It's just nobody will do anything. Nobody's going to do anything.
Unbelievable. And lastly, have you got any response from the EPA? Because I was told by the EPA, private drinking wells are not regulated by the Federal Safe Drinking Water Act, and residents who are on private water wells should speak with, their local yada, yada, yada.
I don't even know what they're doing in here then. I mean, they done killed all the fish. They done killed the creek. I mean, I don't understand. But, we did do the 10-day thing to bring the feds in. But, Jordan, I'm telling you, the guy that's running the Fed office in this local office worked with every one of these DEP officials 2 years ago at the DEP office. I mean, I don't even know how he got promoted to the Fed office, but he did. I got his name on a lot of documents, and I've showed you some documents. I got their names on all these documents that everybody they're sending out here signed off on this stuff back in 15, 16, and 17. Now, I know for a fact that they give the permits out illegally. They didn't have all the paperwork. They never should have got the permits. And when they got confronted with it, they started covering it up. But, they, like I said, they can only do, and when it comes to lawyers and stuff, nobody wants to go up against these people because they got unlimited resources, But we did find a local guy that's going to try to take it on. It's going to help Jamie and Tina get out of their house because they're sick, and, they just forced Tina to go back to work. She has to leave her home. go back to work. And I thought that was kind of ironic that, you know, she's caught up in this mess and they're going to make her go back to work. And, you know, they can't hardly even breathe now.
Yeah.
But that's what they do up here. They try to discredit you and everything else. But like I said, they tried to do that on me, but I kept everything. I kept all the emails, kept all the documents. You know, they can come after me all they want to, but you know, I'm tired of seeing my friends get poisoned.
And last question, what are your thoughts, bigger picture? You know, all you see in the media these days, it's a democracy is at stake, you know, Trump, Biden. I don't want to get into all that, but it seems like all we hear about in the mainstream national media is these big topics like democracy. Meanwhile, communities are being poisoned, the air, the water. You can't even get the media to cover it. You can't get the politicians to call you back. It seems like I'm living in the twilight zone half the time when I'm out at these places because none of this stuff is being covered. I'll tell you, I just did an interview with a lady in Piqua, Ohio.
I think
they have a major issue where lithium-ion batteries are being burnt. And in the comments, there was a bunch of people from there who had no idea. I see that all the time when I'm doing interviews on a topic, let's say in West Virginia, and people in the community will respond, I live the town over. I had no idea. Where the hell is the media?
Well, we just don't have one. We don't have a newspaper. We don't have a local newspaper. That's what I said when they're required the mines to post stuff in the newspaper and stuff for the people to know what's going on. But the nearest newspaper is 50 miles away and nobody around here gets it. So they about got us either way they go. But, you know, all we can hope is that they put water down through there. I don't think anybody wants any money. They don't want to get tied up in these lawsuits or anything. They just want water, man. It's just a basic necessity they need, and they're not getting it, man. We're having to go out of state to get water. That's unreal. I get up over mornings and I lay in bed at night thinking about people getting poisoned, and it's unreal what they're letting these people do up here to these poor people. And I'm like, I don't know, I'm not rich either, but at least I can go take a shower. You know, I have city water, which ain't the best, but it's better than that green stuff. But man, Jordan, letting these people live like this. And like I said, the United States ought to be outraged because this community built this country. This is coal country, man. This is where they build the steel, the coal for the steel. People has died at 60, 62, 63 of black lung. They've lost her. I just lost an uncle this morning. Man, I'm telling you, the country should come together and support you and us. I mean, what you're doing is amazing. And because you're the only one that really has covered this. And, but I wish people would understand, you know, and like you said, well, you don't have to live here. Well, yeah, you do. You got generations here. My wife's mom and dad's buried here. She's not going anywhere. So why not just make it a good place to live instead of letting these companies come in here and destroy it and then leave, file bankruptcy and leave the taxpayers, which we don't have any money anyhow. We can't fix that mess down here. Right. So it's going to be like that forever unless the government really steps in and helps. That'll be like that for the next 10 years. And it's going to float right down to the Ohio River. So, you know,
Thank you,
pray
sir.
for everybody. You too, Jordan.
I'll stay on it and hopefully can get the funding to get back down there for a deeper dive and maybe show up to the Capitol there and knock on the governor's door, see what's going on there.
Hey, I don't think I've ever been to the Capitol. You know, like I said, you got to go through 3 forms just to talk to Carol Miller's office. But I mean, you know, my wife says I better stay away from places like that. I got too bad for temper. So
true. All right. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Jordan.
So that was Richard Altazer. He is an activist and resident down in Wyoming County. And, you know, a lot of times I think, well, YouTube does not like these stories, as you can see by the amount of viewers we have on YouTube. They don't recommend it. It's not sexy. It's not conflict or scandalous enough or hot takey enough. But what I try to show you with every one of these stories is this is not just about this particular location, Wyoming County, which is in southern West Virginia, kind of close to Tennessee. This kind of shit in different forms is happening all over the country. Industrial pollution, corporate pollution, the government environmental department just dumping shit in creeks and ponds, whether it's mining or fracking or uranium or nuclear waste sites. And then there's areas with higher cancer rates than others, and nobody really knows why. Well, it doesn't really, you don't get the cancer right away after the contamination, but 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20 after consuming heavy metals, bacteria, PFAS, which are those forever chemicals. It's horrible. It's horrible. And it's very expensive to, get a full home filtration system. I mean, that costs thousands of dollars. It's very expensive to get an independent lab to test your water. Like he said, for it to hold up in court, a little dipstick that you get at Home Depot ain't going to cut it. A little test you get from Home Depot or somewhere. So we'll stay on this story. Right now, I'm not going to bullshit. We don't have the funding right now to take a trip for a while. I'll get into that a little bit later, but I want to take some calls while we're live. We haven't done that in a while, so let me get the program started. Please smash that like button. Please share this live stream. Please, if you can, leave a super chat. We could really use any help funding-wise. John is still on the ground covering ceasefire protests. I believe he's almost at 40 protests that he's covered in New York. There's a lot. I gotta make sure Colin has access to this. Is that the one you need, Colin?
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. And don't make me wait. Start dialing now. The number's on the screen. 719-782-8871. I will, but please, I'm open to talking about a lot of things. I don't, the people that call in for these random topics like, what I think of solar gardening or some shit, keep it somewhat topical. 2024, others, et cetera, et cetera. All right. I don't know your name, but Elkins, West Virginia. You there?
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
Doing? My name's Richard. My name's Richard, by the way.
Hey.
I just been watching. I watched your show for a while, and what I've seen, the West Virginia part of your show. I didn't grow up in West Virginia. I lived here for about 32 years, and I used to hunt and do a little fishing near East Palestine. I grew up in Steubenville, Ohio, which is just down the river from there. So I'm pretty keen to these issues you talk about, and they've been going on for a long, long time. My dad worked at Pittsburgh Steel. Then they had all, Weirton Steel. Then you had all the paint companies up and down the High River. They've been dumping for years, for decades, forever chemicals in there. Yeah. But I see West Virginia. I've hunted in West Virginia for 32 years. I did a lot of hunting, natural forest and on private land. And what in West Virginia? Because, a lot of the streams on private land with the coal companies ruined everything. You go down Clay County, you go down Nickel County, you go down Logan County, southern part of the state, it's all bad. You got a person like Jim Justice. He's just a complete scumbag. But my point, I don't want to keep you on the phone, make you busy because you got other callers, is sometimes I look at all this and put it in a nutshell, And I blame a lot of it on the people. I've tried to do things. You can't get none of these people in the state, or I'm live in Randolph County. And you can't get West Virginia, Randolph County to middle part of your state. And you can't get none of these people to stick together. It's so corrupt, Jordan. I mean, you got the good old boys. You got Logan County out. Tomlin ran it for years. Jim Justice down there. I mean, the dude ain't never worked a hard day in his whole life. Spoon-fed golden boy. I mean, it's just so in good old boyism. And these coal mines run everything. And you guys can't get the people to do anything. They won't stand up with you enough. And I don't know what the problem is, and they're scared. But I think that's a lot of the problem. These people just don't want to stick together. But that's what I see growing up in the area. Spoonville, where that was a mess with them steel mills. They dumped left and right for years. But I called in mainly just giving you my opinion. And I've seen the program, and I thought it related to a lot of what I've seen, East Palestine and all that. I really do have sympathy for these people, but West Virginia is a nightmare. It is so damn corrupt. And I don't think you could ever fix West Virginia. Other places, maybe, the West Virginia, it's a lost cause, man. These people, they vote Republican, and I don't vote. I'm an independent, but Republicans, I mean, they'll eat their own. I mean, anything for a business, and it's just these people are getting ate alive. My boy, he lives in West Virginia. They don't pay nothing. There's no jobs. The coal mine, I mean, you got to know somebody's brother to get in. But anyways, I just thought I'd give you my opinion a little bit. I watch your show a lot. I think you're doing an outstanding job. But West Virginia, buddy, good luck on that place, buddy. You got a lot of work there. But you take care, Jordan.
You too.
I hope you're the best.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Yeah, and I think also, before I take the next caller, I think people need to understand, because I see the comments, I read them. People saying, well, you get what you vote for, or you deserve it because you voted for Trump. I think people need to realize it's easy to say that, and it feels good to say that, and it feels good to sound, like, well, you should have known better. This shit's happening under Republican presidents and under Democratic presidents. It's happening under Republican governors and Democratic governors. Hell, go talk to the people of Flint. They were through the moon excited when Republican Governor Rick Snyder was leaving office. He's the one that presided over their poisoning and covered it up. And what happened? Governor Gretchen Whitmer comes in. She makes a lot of promises to the people of Flint. She doesn't keep one of them. They still don't have clean water in Flint. She promised she was going to reopen the free water stations that residents depended on. Didn't do that. Flint happened under Obama. He didn't declare a disaster. He declared a state of emergency, but not a disaster declaration. A disaster declaration would have meant the Army Corps of Engineers coming in. They would have dug up those pipes very quick. It's 10 years later. They still haven't replaced all the pipes. 10 years later. We could look at East Palestine. Sure, it's a Republican governor. Biden's president. What has he done? Nothing. His EPA is helping Norfolk Southern cover it up. So sure, Trump, when he was president, he did deregulate, especially environmental stuff, which plays a part in this kind of stuff. But let's not pretend that, if Trump wasn't president, this wouldn't happen in West Virginia. It's not about who's the president. It's about we have a fucking government that's been purchased on the federal level, on the state level, on the local level, and industry is running the show. Whether it's mining, whether it's fracking, whether it's the auto industry, whether it's the steel industry, it doesn't matter. So you got to get out of this mindset that like, oh, you voted for Trump, or you voted for Biden. That's a lazy, easy take, but this stuff is going on regardless of which party is in power. All right, let me take the next one. Caller from New York, DJ.
Jordan, nice to speak with you, man. I really appreciate this. Now, just so you know, the water here in New York City is also compromised. You could look it up. They have lead pipes that they're using, and it's ridiculous. Now, let me tell you about how to get change here. Now, the fact is that you guys are writing these legislators not responding. Why? Now, the fact of the matter that here in New York City, New York State, the data list is open to the public. And I believe in Virginia, it costs $500 for you to get access to the voter list. What should happen is that you guys can work with other other groups that are interested and share this information. And you could do a rally, but those are mostly for photo ops. 10% of the people may be voting. Go door to door and find the people that actually vote and get them to change. Another thing that happens is that here in New York, the judges are assigned by the county committee. But in Virginia, I believe that you guys have, West Virginia, I believe that you guys are having elections for judges. You want electoral reform. You want judicial reform, you need to have the judges on your side. So you really need to mobilize specifically for judges for a long-term solution. The thing is that I have to tell you that another thing you want to do is you want to create allyship with other groups. But here's a problem, right? I actually work with the disabled community, and the disabled community is so often left behind. Right now, the mining companies are actually making a big push to try to work with Mark Saffman, who's actually worked with the deafblind. What happens is that I know that you are victims, but you have to find other victims like the wrongfully incarcerated, people with disabilities, and really find a way to work together. You could say, oh, look, I'm a victim. You got to find the other victims and work together and have real solidarity. And I want to shout out Jordan. I know we don't always see things eye to eye. Thank you for having me on. But what's really cool about today's program is you're actually listening to victims. A lot of times they bring in these experts. And before you guys were talking about the water testing, let's be honest, right? The mining companies do a lot of testing. Right. Yeah. And the thing is that they have a relationship with the testing companies. So you got to often get your test done out of state because you cannot trust how many water testing companies are in the area. How many contracts do they have with the contractors that are incentivized not to give you a certain solution? You get what I mean? So
let me tell you, in East Palestine, it was Norfolk Southern doing the testing at first. And they had a contractor doing the testing for them who was known as the fucking corporate cleanup crew that just
Exactly.
After the BP oil spill, this company was saying, "Oh, the Gulf is fine." They're known as just the company that says whatever the hell the company wants to hear. And then the EPA is doing the testing, and we exposed that they don't even have the equipment. They're not even using the proper equipment that could find lower level of contamination. They were only using equipment that could find levels of contamination you'd find in like a factory or something. So it's all fucking corrupt.
Thanks for listening to the victims and not the experts. That's where your program is different from the others. And I want other people to realize that and recognize and ask other media programs to start doing the same thing. Stop letting them run their stupid experts out here because they all sold out. Otherwise, they wouldn't be allowed up here. And just like Jordan's doing on this channel, and support real media channels that is having actual victims and listening to them. Thank you for your work.
Thanks, man.
God bless.
Appreciate it. And that is something I have done my entire career. I will continue to do, even though, frankly, it doesn't help with YouTube's algorithm. I'm not interested in going places and talking to experts. Of course, at times I will talk to an expert, but experts usually have connections and conflicts. I want to talk to residents. I want to talk to activists. I want to talk to the people who are actually living and breathing it. Literally. I met a lady in West Virginia, literally has lost her voice because she is inhaling this horrid smell from the water. She didn't tell me that. I smelt it. I was at her house. It stinks. The contaminated water flooded her garage. You could smell the contamination inside her bedroom. She's been smelling that for over a year. I don't know what the hell she's inhaling. There could be contamination from coal mining in there. There could be contamination from gas wells. There's white stringy shit in the water. There's green fungi. They told me that their cats used to meow no more. And you can't get the government to respond. This would not happen I don't know West Virginia that well, but Charleston, which is a city.
Happening in New York too.
There you go.
It's happening in New York too. Evanston Tron just died at Reese houses when they found soil tests found conditions worse than 9/11. This is happening nationwide.
Absolutely.
So thanks for your work.
And by the way, before you go, have you heard one person on the news when that bridge collapsed in Baltimore mention there was a lot of hazardous shit on that ship that went into the water there? No.
I never knew that until right now. Of course not.
Yeah,
Of course not.
there was about 70 stacks of hazardous material on that ship. It leaked into the water. I'm emailing right now trying to get, like in this case, I actually want to talk to experts to know what leaked, and I don't know that waterway, so how many people get water from there? But the media doesn't care, and they covered the earthquake last week in New York, New Jersey. Not one mention of the climate.
One more thing I want to mention is that a lot of these groups, these not-for-profit industrial complex, these mining companies, they have relationships with the press. They will invite the press to their end of the year soirees, stuff like that. You cannot expect fairness, and you got to start developing your own relations with the press. You're actually, and once again, props to your work in being outstanding in this way. But other people have to start demanding more from the media. And if they just accept what's sold to them, then they're going to get what they deserve.
Absolutely. Thanks, man. Got to go to the next one. Take care. All right. And keep smashing that like button. Share this live stream. Super chats are very appreciated. I'll read them at the end. I'm going to keep it real. Right now has been, I guess you could say, a downtime for us as far as growth. I always try to be honest. Yeah, we're kind of stuck right now. We're not like on death's door about to fold up the tent, but we have spent a lot of money in recent months on the ground reporting, on freelancers. Unfortunately, I hate to have to share this, but for the time being, at least, I had to cut back. So you won't be seeing Tina and Ron weekly anymore. Not because I don't love them, but because we pay them, obviously. And we just, like I always say, if I had a money tree in the backyard, it would be wonderful. I don't. And it was just getting too much between the on the ground reporting, obviously myself, Colin, John, and then adding in paying freelancers every week. So I've had to scale back a little bit, which hurts because I think Ron was doing a terrific job. I loved Tina's show. But it's the kind of thing that there's only so much money to go around when you don't take money from corporate America, when you don't take any money from, big donors that donate to the Republican Party or the Democratic Party, when you don't have a massive sugar daddy or sugar mama dropping in $500,000 to $1 million. I'd love one, but one with values that aren't going to try and dictate our coverage. We're independently funded, and sometimes you hit, a peak. Like when we were on the ground for the UAW strikes, we grew really nicely, grew a lot of subscribers. We got about 150 paid signups when we were on the ground then. And some trips you spend a lot of money, like we just went to Flint in West Virginia, plus paying Ty for the Flint documentary we're working on. Sometimes you pay $6-7 grand for 2 trips and you only make $1,000. So anyway, that's the deal. I'm not trying to complain, but there are realities. So if you can sign up as a Status Coup member, that is our main way of making money. If you're already a member, donations are always appreciated. That's statuscoup.com/donate. And always remember, I don't push it enough. We have a merchandise store, so you could buy Status Coup shirts, Status Coup hats, Status Coup towels, Status Coup sweatpants, Status Coup phone covers, Status Coup pillowcases. You name it, we got it. United Corporations of America shirt, Fossil Fuckers shirt, Capitalism, COP, Capitalism, and there's a lot of other good stuff in there. All right, let me
real quick. If it doesn't work, try again in a bit. It looks like not our website, but the overall server for that hosts our website is down temporarily. So just check it again in a couple minutes and it should be fine.
Wonderful. StatusCoup.com/join when it works. Alvaro, you're up, Alvaro.
Yeah, hello. I love calling you. I love doing my questions. This is kind of far left field from the water. I saw an article, I told you previously I'm Gen Z, I'm 23, and
hey, Alvaro, let me ask you as a Gen Zer, not to sound like an old guy, how the fuck do I get your people on the TikTok over here to Status Coup? I know they only have the attention span of like 3 seconds, but I'm trying to figure out how to get all these kids on TikTok over here because I think they would like what we're doing. Go on.
All right, I'll answer that first. Because you gotta know that, Jordan, you're more old school like that. You're more of like that millennial YouTuber stuff like that. And the thing is, your personality is more like a Sam Cedar. You're like more like factual. You're factual, and a lot of Gen Z don't do that. And if I was maybe get some people, maybe get some younger people hiring, but the thing is, you don't focus on the culture wars. You don't. You just focus on straight up environment and stuff like that. People like me, who I went to college, I was a political minor, geography major. So I love when you speak about infected water, when you go to West Virginia, when you go to Michigan. But in most other people, Gen Z and, coming up Gen Alpha, they like the culture wars.
Oh. Well, I guess I'll have to smoke some weed or do some edibles and make some spoof videos on the culture war, because that's really the only way I could become interested in that. But anyway, yeah, it's tough, because honestly, that's sometimes it just hits you that you're old, and you're right. I used to be considered young when I was starting out in 2016, when YouTube was the thing and the stuff I was covering, there was a real audience for it. But these younger people today, I think they're just flooded with so many options for media and information and podcasts that, yeah, I think you're right.
I'm not really worried about my generation group wise, because as you know, we're affecting a lot in Palestine and doing lots of protests. And that's going to affect with the uncommitted in Michigan and Minnesota, most of the Midwest. And because in Michigan, it's not just Dearborn. There's a lot, not just Dearborn, Ann Arbor. There were a lot of rural areas that were uncommitted. And there weren't even mostly young people. There were old people. It just shows the power of online. Possibly with Gen Z could do some effect, like they did affect in the Black Lives Matter. And Gen Z is the reason why Biden became president. And possibly Gen Z is going to be the reason why he's not going to become president.
Right.
In several months.
Yeah, I agree with that. Sorry, I went on a tangent. You had a question about the election?
Oh, no. This is a question. So I saw an article about 2 weeks about Gen Z now started going to trade schools and doing trade works instead of going to college. The reason why I asked is because you're a millennial and you're kind of your generation was thrown to head. You have to go to college no matter what. And what happened to the switch from your millennials to my Gen Z? Hey, we're open to construction work and trade school.
Yeah. I got to tell you, maybe it's an unpopular opinion and I shouldn't say this. I think for the most part, other than specific things like being a doctor, things that you really need a lot of education for. I think college is overrated. I think I didn't learn much in college. I mean, I didn't exactly go to Harvard. I went to University of Tampa and I was a communications major, which is the equivalent of finger painting. So everything I learned was through the few internships I did, and then just the real world, jobs and being on the ground covering. I mean, I learned more from being on the ground in this line of work than I ever did in school. And I think college is basically a way for the capitalist class to drain more money out of you. But in reality, if you go to a 4-year college, the first, there's a certain requirements for math, science, things that might not even be in the industry you end up doing. So I personally think most people go to college because you have to get a job. But honestly, I mean, I talk to people all the time who have a 4-year degree and can't find work, or the work they find, they're underpaid and have to work extra jobs, or they have a master's degree and are not able to find work. So I do not think anymore that it is the case where a 4-year degree or even a master's necessarily gets you that career with the good benefits and the rising pay that maybe it did, 20 years ago. I think because we have a government that's been purchased by the very corporations that set your salary. I think corporations are their mentality. It started in the 1980s. Greed is good, and let's do more with less, and let's squeeze as much juice out of the orange as possible. And I think now corporate America's main mentality over the next 10 years is going to be how to replace people with AI. I mean, even NVIDIA, which is, this big microchip, they're now talking about getting rid of nurses and replacing them with AI machines or AI systems to, make health decisions, which to me is a nightmare and very immoral. But anyway, my advice would be, I just don't think it's accurate anymore that you can't get a job without a 4-year degree, because it's hard to get a good job with a 4-year degree. So if you're in a position to go to a trade school or get specific type of training for something specific that there will always be work for, I would absolutely say to do that. Now, for people who want to go to college for whatever reason, if it's not going to put you in massive debt, go, have at it, go with God. But I personally, for me, I graduated in 2008. The economy collapsed. I didn't have a job for 4 months after graduation. I only got a job because my father knew somebody at Fox News. That's the truth. That's how I got the job at Fox News, which I had no idea at that time that Fox was like the Republican National Committee. I wasn't really that into politics at the time. I had no idea that it was such a right-wing channel until I got there. But to answer your question, I think that, as a parent, I have a 16-month-old daughter. By the time she's 18, I don't know. Can you send your kid to even a shitty school for under 50 grand at that point? So I definitely think college is overrated. I'm not saying don't do it. For specific lines of work, you'll definitely need training and specified education. But I think right now it's a big racket.
All right. Thank you so much for answering my questions. Have a great day.
You too. Take care. All right. Now we're moving. Smash that like button. Keep those super chats coming. I'll read them in a little bit. Colin is trying to figure out what's going on with the site. So once the site is back up, you could sign up for your memberships, donate, all those things. Thomas, you're up.
Yep. Okay. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. Yeah. First of all, I want to, as a millennial myself and someone who's actually has been into science my pretty whole life, I want to break the myth of short attention span. That is a myth. It's not that younger people have short attention span. It's just that they're like think of like a computer. They're like programmed to only accept short bits of information. They just have been trained to accept longer forms of information, because in reality we all have long extension spans in reality.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. And I think there's been research to show that particularly Gen Z, with social media and so much constantly coming at them digitally, there's kind of people become addicted to. I'm not Gen Z, and I'm looking at my Twitter all the time, just because it's habit. And I definitely think that curtails your ability to consume things on a longer form. So yeah, you're right that they're not like naturally like that. They become that.
Yeah,
for sure.
So that's that thing. And then along with the water crisis that's happening in various parts of the country, I live here in the Midwest, and when the whole thing about the whole Keystone pipeline and everything, that one pipeline would have gone about 2 or 3 miles from where I live here in the Midwest in Iowa. It literally would have been just right. Okay, it's Ottumwa, where John Deere is. You know where that is, right?
Yes, I was there. I was there.
I literally live 30 minutes on the east side of Ottumwa. So right in that area, I was checking where that one pipe would have gone through. it literally would have not been far from where I lived. So that water, that could have affected the water in this area if they had actually got it completed.
Wow. Got it.
Yeah. And then the other thing is that at least I don't know about anywhere else, but I know where I'm from is we have a massive hard water problem, at least in where I live, where nobody has, there's no where you have that kind of white stuff that builds up.
Mhm.
Every year when I take my hose, I have to really work out to get my hose off because that stuff cakes up and basically makes my hose get stuck every year.
Wow.
Yeah, so I would say our water, it's not like it's terrible water here, but at the same time, I don't think it's also not great water here either.
Yeah. For the wealthiest country on earth, the fact that you have infrastructure underneath the ground that in most parts of the country is between 50 and 100 years old, in a lot of cases still lead. Contrary to what Biden has said, the lead pipes have not been replaced around the country. The fact that, a lot of the housing stock in this country, 60 to 100 years old. So there's plumbing problems inside people's homes that have stuff leaching into your water. It's not just pipes. I mean, you have, I've been to nuclear waste sites where the Manhattan Project radioactive nuclear waste is sealed underground and not sealed properly. So kids have to wear masks outside. This is like before COVID. Like kids were wearing masks because it stunk. So I think in the industrial boom and the industrial buildup, particularly in the Midwest, there was a lot of jobs and a thriving middle class other than, black and brown people. And I don't think there was a lot of thought to the, 50 years from that point. The EPA didn't even exist until the 1970s. And I think the chickens are coming home to roost. And I really wish, I don't know if there's a way to really quantify it, but you look at certain parts of the country that have higher cancer rates, and sure, there's some things that are consistent, areas that are poorer, minority areas, you tend to have, worse respiratory issues, asthma, COPD, cancer rates. And a lot of times that's because those neighborhoods, you have factories and paper mills and like right on top of, or chemical plants. But there's also, middle class parts of the country that are, relatively white that you're starting to see cancer rates surging. And people wonder why do so many people have cancer on this block? Or, well, there's a water issues in this country. There's air contamination, and we have a EPA that it's not just that there's corruption in the EPA under Trump. There's corruption under all politicians because our health and environmental departments, federally and on the state, are now really more towards protection of industry and, quote, economic development than health. And another thing is you have a lot of dipshits in water positions, in departments where they have no expertise. I saw it in the case of the Flint water crisis where you had people, water supervisors that didn't even know what Legionnaire's disease was, which is one of the most common waterborne bacteria. So, I tell people all the time, it might get down to, it's safer to drink your own piss or whiskey than the water. I wouldn't mind drinking whiskey, but I don't want to drink my own piss. So, yes. Thank you for calling, man. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right. Next one. Ray.
Yes. Hello. How you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm Ray Hall from Flint, Michigan. You had interviewed me once. I was down at the homeless shelter. It was next to the celebration that they was having. I guess I don't know, but
I remember
I spoke to you about.
I remember.
Oh, that's great. Did I remember you about the United Nations and what I'm trying to do right here, so I can get this eclipse going on with your book. When can I get my hands on your book so I can take it to what I'm trying to do with the United Nations? And Also, I'm trying to the Attorney General that was over the Flint water case has went on to another job. So right now, they're trying to disguise or hide, or just like the water crisis with the thing, they're trying to hide it, and nobody's standing up about it.
Tell me about it.
So they got transcripts that we supposed to have about the Flint water case and why they didn't take it farther to the United States Supreme Court or whatever. They stopped it. They just dropped it. And everything that they did is in your book and more. So
well, right now,
I'm ready.
I can't go further, but right now I am having communication, shall I say, with a lawyer about possibly suing your attorney general. So stay tuned for that, because they are withholding information from me that I requested via Freedom of Information. And then they're saying they don't have it. They don't have the documents that I asked for, when I know for a fact they do, and they're lying. Right. So I'm trying to get a lawyer. I'm trying to get a lawyer because the documents I'm asking for would expose the entire financial scheme that led to your poisoning and your neighbor's poisoning. So that's why I think they're lying that they don't have it. But in terms of the book, it'll be out August 6th. I tried to get it out sooner, but I couldn't get them to move it up. So it'll be out this summer. Right now, you could pre-order it, but if you reach out to me, I'll see what I could do to get it to you sooner. Email me, jordanchariton@statuscoup.com.
Well, the one thing is I'll be looking over the video again, and because I'm a whatever. But what you just said to me is that something I'm going to go before the city council, and let them know that if they get behind suing, and I wish they are arguing with each other. And that's why nobody's paying attention to the city of Flint, what's going on. And they got away with dropping the cases and all that. This is going to be an uproar when I step before the city council and say, hey, you know what? It's a lawsuit already going on. You all need to speak up on behalf of whatever we could do as a lawsuit, or, however I'm taking the grassroots thing towards getting back at, prosecuting them and everything else. It can be done through grassroots lawyers and stuff like that. So I'm really looking forward to whatever, but I wish some kind of way I could attach your book or a copy of it or your picture of the book, however your front cover, on the back of a jacket or something, and then some kind of how you put it, some publicity, like flyers or something like that the book is coming out, but also letting people know that this right here will will you.
Jordan, you stop sharing the window.
Oh.
And let's get to these people who poisoned us and do something about it. So I'm very excited. That all I'm really like before was just asking for permission to do it all. You know what I'm saying? Put it on my back strap and let's move with it. So that's what I wanted to say for this Eclipse Absolutely. Day. Thank you,
Colin. Can you post the show a screenshot of the pre-order page so this fine gentleman can see it? It's also in the description. So if you look in the description under the video, under this live stream, you will see a link to pre-order my book. So that has the book cover. And if you email me, I'll send you some of it so you can see. So
to whatever it is, like you said, to your email or something, I'll have to listen to look. But mine is lowercase RAHALLY@AOL.com. And I look forward to getting anything I can from you so I can make this thing happen. Yes, that's it right there. We the poison. That's what I'm talking about. Yes.
Damn right.
Yes, and I attach that to my back. There's nobody in Flint can deny that. Grassroots, we the poison. Like we the people. Let's do something. Or you all dead. You dead. I can talk about you being dead people who don't understand what's going on. Thank you so much for letting me do
and let me tell you something. I think, obviously I'm biased because I wrote it. I think this is the biggest government cover-up of the 21st century. I think what's exposed. I think what's exposed in my book is going to make Watergate look like child's play. Nobody died from Watergate. People are still dying. I think that this book shows an ongoing criminal conspiracy that is similar to the mafia. I push them to move it up, but I'm not working with the biggest publisher, so I had to kind of go at their pace. Yeah.
Right. Everything happens in time. So like I said, just looking at it, I'm beyond the world because like I told you before when I met you, I'm taking things towards the United Nations. I'm letting the world see that this cover up, this thing that they're doing is something that the United Nations of the world need to look at. The book can be presented before the United Nations like music and everything else, or a part of entertainment or a movie. This is it. The movie has already been played out because we not only make plays, we not only rap, we not only dance, we got professors doing theses and everybody. So it's so much coverage that it can do. Then your book comes, let alone other people who have put their book, and I strap that picture to my back. It's on and popping as far as I can see through the website and everything. So I just trying to get your permission to bust that move, and then we'll work together on how to get it all done. But I need to get flyers, stuff I'm going to paste on walls. You know what I'm saying? Cars knocking on the door, giving the buses and everything.
I'll definitely be in Flint in August when the book is released to do an event or two. So hopefully I'll see you there.
That sounds great. Okay, thank you. I thought you was going to be here April too.
I am. I'm coming for the anniversary.
All right. So yeah, I'll try my best to get close to you and see what's up from there.
All right. Take care, man.
Okay. Bye-bye.
And public service announcement, our members site is back up. So for those of you that were going to sign up as a Status Coup member, for those of you who are going to make a donation, try it now. That's statuscoup.com/join, statuscoup.com/join to sign up as a member. We need you. We need you. There's a lot of outlets sending you 25 emails a week, and a lot of them are asking for money. God bless them. I try not to send a gazillion fundraising emails because, frankly, I don't think my audience has a gazillion dollars to fundraise, and I don't want to be just another asshole asking you for money. But I'm the asshole that actually needs your money. We need funding. I mean, honestly, right now, I'm also thinking about switching us from a for-profit to a nonprofit, because if we become a nonprofit, then we could apply for grants. Which as a for-profit, you really can't get grant money. So that's something we're considering now. I just reached out to a group to see if they could help us converting from a for-profit to a nonprofit so that we can apply for grants. Also, if you become a nonprofit, you, the viewer, can make donations that would be tax deductible. So that's in the works. It probably will be a long process, but that's some of the stuff that's going on in the background. All right. Please sign up, become a member, and donate if you can. Let me take another caller here. Nylock.
Hello?
Hey there.
Oh, yes. Love your show, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I watch it pretty regularly. I'm glad that you're one of the few ones that are still mentioning that COVID is still around, because yesterday I was in a situation where I was basically gaslit for about an hour at a church that I go to. And it was just awful. Like, basically the whole premise around the sermon was that if you're still taking precautions at this point, then you're living in fear. And that's not fair, because the lady that basically had her testimony going, she almost died from COVID. She was in the ICU. She was like, what do you call it, double pneumonia and everything. And like, she had all that going on just to say at the end, like, oh, when in doubt, like, keep worshiping. And it's like, lady, you have to use an inhaler. You can't even finish the song, you know, like taking precautions and not wanting to get chronic, reinfected and all that. That's not a bad thing, you know.
I don't.
it's like you
I'm not a
literally.
religious person. I don't know. I don't know Jesus and what he preached, but I do know that Christianity, Catholicism is supposed to be. Most religions are supposed to be built on tolerance. And what's it
Yeah.
to them if somebody wants to take a precaution? How does that affect them? So I find that bizarre.
And the thing about it too. Oh, sorry. Yeah, the thing about it too is that like it's just frustrating because it's like I never stopped masking, and my parents go, and I just go with my parents and everything, and like they and myself are the only three that are masking, and nobody else is masked. There's not air purification, like none of that. And I mean, the fact that you have someone who like literally has lung disease and probably a myriad of chronic conditions as a result of repeat infections, the least they could do is like provide clean air for the poor lady. Like,
Yeah.
It just comes off really exploitative.
I don't.
I know she
and
like.
and also, I mean, you don't know somebody wearing a mask next to you. You don't know. They could have a pre-existing condition. They could have asthma. They could have, they could live with an elderly person, or they could
And that's
just
the thing. Like both of my parents are old. Like,
right.
dad has asthma and mom has she's had a stroke before, so like I guess that is kind of high risk. But like both of them are, like age related and
Right.
stuff like that. But like repeat infections are not good. I've had several family members who've gotten COVID like 4 and 5 and 6 times, and they all have chronic conditions. Like
Yeah.
my sister is basically in heart failure
Wow.
because she got COVID like 5 times or whatever.
Yeah.
And
I honestly
like my
don't. I
oldest
honestly
brother,
don't think.
he almost died.
Yeah, I don't think we have fully seen yet. I think it's going to take another couple years. But the people who got this 4, 5, 6 times, when when organs start malfunctioning, and we later learned that was from repeat infections. I don't think everybody has their own kind of risk calculation, whether it's about COVID or anything else. And I say, if people should do what makes them comfortable and feel safe, and everybody else should just shut the fuck up. And if it bothers you that people are wearing a mask, then that's a sickness in your head. You need to evaluate.
Basically.
You need to evaluate why that bothers you, because it's bizarre.
For real.
Yeah.
For real. Like I said, just gotta stay safe out there, folks, because believe me, like this lady, she had gotten COVID in 2021. So back then it was still kind of an issue. Now if you get COVID, now that there's like no protections, no state of emergency acknowledgement, no healthcare benefits or whatever, like they took all that away. So if you get COVID nowadays, you get really, really sick, that's all on you. And those medical bills are no joke.
Yeah.
That's
absolutely.
why you really got to protect yourselves out here, folks.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Well,
also, do you think the price of groceries will get any better?
Honestly, I think that because we have a president, and I don't really think it would change much under Trump, that essentially their answer to corporate price gouging is sending, stern letters to the fossil fuel industry. No, I don't.
Wagging.
I mean, maybe it will go down a little bit, but at the end of the day, if these grocery behemoths can get away with it, they're going to continue doing it. And that's what you're seeing now.
My spices the other day cost like $35, and all I got was like cloves and this Japanese seasoning or whatever that I use, and it's just crazy.
Yeah, my guilty pleasure once in a while is Popeyes, and I went to Popeyes a couple weeks ago. I got what I normally get, which I don't know, was like used to be like $10, which is that's not cheap. It was like
definitely not.
No. This was like $17 for a 4-piece chicken. 4-piece chicken with fries, a biscuit, and a drink. It's not good for me.
So criminal.
So no, I don't think groceries are going to go down anytime soon. I mean, the one thing I'll say about Trump, he's high on his own oxygen, so he might go a little.
Higher than the stratosphere.
Yeah, he might go a little further than sending a harsh letter, and but there, other countries like the UK, when corporations price gouge like this, there's laws against it. Here, because
Yeah,
the corporations purchase the politicians, nothing you could do. So no, I don't think it's going to go down anytime soon, unfortunately.
That's wild. But
Yeah.
definitely thanks for taking 2 questions at least. I hope
No
I
problem.
didn't take up too much time.
No, not at
Love
all.
your show, and I will continue to share it around. I actually shared this stream in my Discord server. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Awesome.
I'll be seeing you around.
All right. Take care.
Yes, indeed. Thanks for talking.
Sure. And I'll take one more caller, Lauren.
Hey,
Hey there.
am I on? Can you hear me? Do I have
Yep.
to do something?
I hear you.
Okay. So I'm in Michigan, which is not only home to Flint, but also Enbridge Line 5 pipeline
Uh-huh.
and Enbridge Line 3 pipeline is part, the whole deal.
I know.
I went to the No DAPL occupation basically after watching your coverage with your interview with LaDonna. And that's where I found out about Line 5 here in Michigan, which is at least 15 years older than it was supposed to ever last for. And it is an existential threat to the Great Lakes, which is only 20% of the world's fresh water. No big deal.
Yeah.
Same site as Line 3. And also, there's another case that you might be interested in. This is taking after Energy Transfer Partners, which pushed another pipeline through that threatens a lake system that has a YMCA day camp and no evacuation zone, no problem.
Oh my God.
And now our governor.
Where is that?
Yeah. It's in gosh, I'm losing the name of the town right now.
That's
It's near Pinckney. It's in southeast Michigan, and it's the YMCA of Ann Arbor owns it, and they were fighting with the grassroots community against this pipeline, and then something drastically happened, and all of a sudden the Y is pulled out. So I suspect there was some sprinkling of the cash or something. I don't know.
I'm sure it was
anything.
more than a sprinkling, but I'm sure Energy Partners and.
But there is a case against Energy Transfer Partners and Latent Security and Kelsey Warren, and the young man who's doing it is doing it pro se because not a single lawyer had the stones to represent him.
Wow.
And it's going through circuit court, and it's probably going to be that the statute of limitations has run out. But he was in court just last week with lawyers from all 3 of the big 3 big fancy corporate lawyers, and there he is. He's a chef, and he's representing himself. But I think what it's going to take is for all of us to just stand up and say, absolutely not, no more.
Absolutely.
Because we cannot rely on these politicians at any level to really do the right thing. Because, as you've mentioned, that the toxic substance in our politics is money.
Yep.
And, that's under everything. But there's also something very cute in Michigan that is under what was supposed to be the Renewable Energy Portfolio Standard for the state of Michigan. Well, our big investor-owned utility companies, DTE, which is the worst, and then Consumers, second worst, and they basically run Lansing. They and the healthcare corporations, health denier corporations are the big lobbyists in Lansing.
Yeah. Well,
So
the governor's father was like the head of Blue Cross Blue Shield forever. Yep.
Oh, now, Jordan, that's just a coincidence. Now, come on.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I'm a retired clinical psychologist. I was public sector. # I'm retired.
Awesome.
Anyway, so in this bill, if you can believe it, one of the great ideas is to restart the Palisades nuclear plant, which is on the shores of Lake Michigan. It would be the first in the world to ever be restarted once it was closed. What could possibly go wrong?
Oh, God.
Yeah. And then another one is to build pipeline project to move literal cow poop from Coopersville to, I believe it's Kalamazoo, where they have a water treatment plant, so they can treat the CAFO residue and turn it into lovely renewable natural gas methane made from cow poop. Yeah.
Oh, my God. Unbelievable.
Right. Like, hello, Michigan. And but we revived the old license plate for Michigan, which says Water Winter Wonderland.
Oh, well, at least it's not
So
pure
there you
Michigan.
go.
At least it's not pure Michigan, which is a slap in the face. if you
Yeah,
ask me.
well, that was a little much to swallow.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
anyway, the battle, it's like pipelines everywhere and not a drop to drink. And what a stupid species that we put
Seriously.
up with this crap.
If you
And
can,
so there, when you,
oh, go ahead.
yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, if you can, when you remember the town, send me an email about energy transfers.
I
and
will.
that.
I
Yeah.
will. I'm just like, I can't even believe I'm not. I think it's Pinckney, but don't make me swear on it.
Okay.
But they were doing things like trying to accuse this water protector, who I know is not done. They accused him of pouring gasoline on one of their leaks to try to prove that they were doing bad stuff. They accused him of throwing rocks. They accused him of all kinds of things. And then there's actually a legal term called false light. It's kind of like defamation, but it's when you're publicly portraying somebody in a false light.
Mm-hmm.
And their claim is, oh, we didn't do that because all of this information was only shared within the local sheriff's department. But he was called into a meeting where there were police agencies from 3 counties. Now, if it's only kept in one little police agency, how'd that happen?
Right. It's unbelievable.
So it's unbelievable, but he is unbelievably brave to stand up to this.
Yeah.
So anyway, when you're in Michigan, when you're coming to Flint, there's plenty.
Oh, I could spend
plenty.
if I didn't have a wife and kid, I could move to Michigan and never be bored journalistically.
Oh my goodness, it's so unbelievably bad. And this is not, I mean, this is the stuff that people across any kind of, go blue, go red nonsense hate.
Yeah.
And this is something I think that we share. The people generally say, no, we don't want to destroy the ecosystems that we depend on. We don't want fouled water and air. We don't want to be poisoned.
Right.
And the sense of the Green New Deal is that, like you said, we've got all these homes that need to have new plumbing and stuff like that. We've got all kinds of infrastructure that needs replacing, and we can put plenty of people to work building healthy 21st century energy, water, you name it, infrastructure, and keep that money circulating in local economies and giving people living wages instead of going to Wall Street fat cats who are all busy, buying their private islands or their rocket ships to Mars or whatever they're planning to do when there's no clean water or air. I don't know what their plan is, but
right.
Anyhow, that's the good news, is people, I think, are aligned on things that do need to be done. The bad news is that our political system is so completely corrupted by money that we don't get what the majority want, ever.
Yep, absolutely. Well, thanks for calling.
So anyway, I just want to say thank you for all that you do. I think I'm still a member. I'm not sure. I think I am. If I'm not, I'll join again. But I keep telling people about Status Coup and following you because you've done so much great work covering stories that nobody else will touch with a 10-foot pole.
Well,
and
thank you.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate that. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. So that's our call program for the evening. Let me shut it down. Maybe I'll do a thing. Maybe I'll make the call-in show a Monday thing. Maybe pop in sometimes on the weekend. If more people can join, Let me read the super chats. Donald, a member for 4 months. I'll always support on the ground journalism. Thanks for your support as a member. Hint, hint, sign up. StatusCoup.com/join. Tony D, $1.99. Call-in shows are so awesome. Thank you, Tony, for your support. Das Boss Fleisch, 249 euros. I have joining a members call on my checklist. Yes, we do need to do a members call soon for April. Maybe, what is it? Definitely before I go back to Flint. So maybe next week. Carpe Diem, $20. Keep up the great work. Jordan, I appreciate that. $36 donation from John on our website. That's statuscoup.com/donate. Thank you so much, John. I appreciate super chats. YouTube does take quite a chunk of them. So donations straight to the website help. The site was down for a minute. Now it's back up. So that's statuscoup.com/donate. By the way, with the statuscoup.com/donate, you could do a one-time donation, but you could also set it for, monthly recurring too, which helps us in terms of revenue. And membership is obviously our main model in terms of growth. So if you ask me, Jordan, what do you want me to do? One thing, sign up, statuscoup.com/join. You can become a member for as low as $5 a month. We are working on a documentary for the 10-year anniversary of the ongoing water crisis that will be released at the end of this month. And I have my book coming out, which you can now pre-order. We the Poisoned, Exposing the Flint Water Crisis Cover-Up and the Poisoning of 100,000 Americans. And the link to that is in the description of this video. And I just reached out today, actually, to an individual to see if they will do a book event with me when the book is out. So hopefully they say yes, and I'll have something exciting to announce. I'm just starting to kind of plan stuff for when the book comes out over the summer. So that's all I got for today. I'll be back at it tomorrow. Have a good rest of your night.